Welcome to the Soul Leadership Podcast. My name is Louise Cameron Edlund, and I am just so happy, honored, and blessed to have you join in this space that I am co-creating with incredible souls around the world to help you activate and fulfill that soul-aligned leadership that is within you. Episode 1, we are so blessed to have the incredible self-love mentor and manifesting queen, Gina Swire, join us. Now, Gina Swire is a self-love mentor and manifesting queen on a global mission to help 1 billion women fall madly in love with themselves from an incredible, powering journey where she had her own self-struggle with the old self-limiting worth that we all go through from time to time. And she had image issues, and Gina was actually a plus-size model. And she decided to quit that career as a plus-size model at the height of her fame in order to embark on her own journey of transformation. And today she travels the world leading live workshops, hosting retreats, coaching private clients, and speaking on stage from Burning Man to Bali. Her first book, P.S. I Love Me, is going to be soon published. Wow. She inspires women everywhere to love themselves and love their lives. And you can learn all about Gina here on this episode of the podcast, and you can also become part of her self-love movement at www.ginaswire.com. So without any further ado, let's take a breath and prepare yourself for this incredible self-love manifesting activation. Wow, amazing. I'm so just filled with love, of course, being sat right directly in front of the self-love manifesting queen that is Gina. Thank you so much, Gina, for taking this time to come and spread your magic.
Thank you for having me and inviting me.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So Gina, I actually got a chance to meet in Ibiza through amazing friends that we have in common. And I wanted to get Gina on here for many reasons, but there's something just so infectious about spending time in the presence of people who are really mastering their work. They're really aligned in their soul mission, in their service, in fulfilling their path. And when you get an opportunity, it's like, you know, like these beautiful currents, like in the sea, and it's like, whew, you get swept into these currents. And so I wanted to have Gina just to spread some of her magic to all of us and to share her story, because, you know, it's so easy, isn't it? I mean, I've got my crystal here. It's like that iceberg thing. It's like success. You know, you see this little tip and you think, oh, well, that's all good for Gina, isn't it? Like, because she's got this and she's got these many followers and she's got, I don't know, this much money in the bank, and we have our minds and we have our excuses. But we realize there's a depth of a journey to all the successful people. And so Gina has an incredible story. So yeah, Gina, I mean, with your incredible journey, if you had to connect in with people and just share, well, where first are you now? Tell us about your life.
Okay, yeah. So, well, first of all, thank you for having me. And it takes one to know one, because I know that you are also smashing it and having your book and all these amazing things that I've got to know over. I'm constantly surprised by how awesome you are. And, you know, just your vibration is so inspiring to me as well. So takes one to know one. Yeah. So right now I am, yeah, I feel like I'm reaping a lot of the benefits. A lot of the seeds that have been sown are being reaped right now. And just to put this into perspective, that does not mean that my life is simple. It does not mean that I'm just feeling great every day. I've actually personally been just in one of the deepest healing journeys in the last 3 months that I've ever experienced, whilst synonymously my business and my mission and my offerings are doing really, really well. So that's the first one. You know, just because you see Tony Robbins or Esther Hicks or Gabby Bernstein, you know, coming out with their new multi-million-dollar book, it doesn't mean that they're not in one of the most painful times of their life. And I can definitely vouch for that. But what it looks like at the moment in terms of success and in terms of things coming together is my book is just about to be published, which is called P.S. I Love Me. That's been a massive project of the book creation project, and then actually getting it published was a whole different project that I didn't realize I was going to have. It looks like I have a couple of online courses, which I have the 12-step self-love transformation that has currently 88 women going through a process of my life's work in a course, and they're having amazing trajectory of their life is just changing from this disempowered state into an empowered state. And that's the biggest gift I can give to anyone ever. And that was the biggest gift I ever had as well. Because once that shift happens, which for me was about 6 years ago, then you're into this upward spiral. And of course, that also looks like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I used to do one-to-one with people, what I used to do in groups, and I still do that. But I used to do loads of that. And now I have these courses that do a lot of the heavy lifting. So it's kind of scalable as well. The impact is scalable. I teach in 2 ways. So a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors are taught that we must have one thing and do it really well, one niche, and that's it. Well, personally, I threw away the marketing handbook years ago. All that stuff I tried to do, I don't align with. I align with spirit, I align with intuition, and I align with my desires. And my desires include teaching women who are new to the journey, who want to learn about self-love and change go from the disempowered state to the empowered state. And women who have done that work and now want to share it. So I have 2 types of people that I work with, and both equally like nourish me and light me up. So I broke the rules.
Love it. I love rule breaking personally in so many levels myself. And just as you say, I've been in business, self-employed for 10 years. I have to admit, it felt like that uphill struggle until the point I just was like, this, I'm just going to, same as you say, just like follow that intuition, connect to spirit, and just, trust in your desires. And that's what I really, love about your work and just what you embody. It's like, own your desires, have fun, and make it super playful. Because when you watch you in your personal life and in your business life, there's just this joy. And that to me comes from somebody who's not restricting themselves in rule books, but from someone who's just connecting to their source, to their desires, and just like arriving into the world and just saying, look, here I am, and let's have some fun as we change yourself and change the world. So I just love that and feel that and see that, and so inspiring for you to share that for people, because it's true. Like, over analysis paralysis, like all these rules, all do this, do that, which totally switches us off from our, you know, our own mojo and our own connection into spirit. And I love that you also shared the truth, like, how are you? What's your life like? And of course, it's beautiful, it's incredible, it's inspiring, it's motivating. But yeah, I mean, if we're real and honest, these people like yourself who we look up to, we're human. We're going to have life. We're going to have the heavy times and hard times. And it doesn't mean you can't have both.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. And with this being in business and being a human at the same time, which most people are, especially in this spiritual growth path, which I believe everyone's on, but when you really identify with that, our businesses, our offerings, our world is just an extension of our healing path. You know, it's what we're learning. And on some level, at the start, when I like the phrase, turn your trauma into dharma. And when we do that, a lot of what we teach is kind of like, I know a lot of what you teach is out of what you've learned and what you've overcome. And on a lot of levels, a lot of people are doing that. They're drawn to something because it's what they needed to learn or they need to learn. And once you're in your offering, it's no different, really. You still now not traumatizing yourself, or maybe, but you're still now getting problems and challenges that you're having to learn to overcome, and that's creating your content, your message, your wisdom for the people coming through. So it's genius.
Yeah, and it's so good to just embody what is real and alive within us. Like you were talking just there about, you know, especially in the spiritual businesses, and for such a long time it was like, you know, that paradigm of like, oh, if I'm teaching this stuff, if I'm setting up a business, I'm going to begin a business, oh my goodness, I have to be a master. I have to have no personal issues, no triggers, no whatever. And just that pressure to, you know, be something that you're not really. Just, it's not your truth. So who's going to resonate with that? For sure. I love it when you're just give yourself and you give everyone in the world just that permission just to be like, hey, I'm a self-love coach and I'm going through this thing, you know, like that's, feel it, just like that's your truth, be there. And when you feel it, and you're beautiful at this, such an inspiration, and feeling and being so compassionate and just like, this is where I am and I love myself here, and this allowance, this acceptance is probably where you're going to find your next inspiration or this or that, and just not being afraid to share it as well and just be who you are. And I love that honesty and transparency and that permission that you give yourself and you give everyone, and especially the business creators in the spiritual path. That spirituality is being human and embodying it, and just being real and raw with yourself, and just here I am today, and I love myself for that.
Yeah. And I have this hack, which is something that's in my book, and it's called cute versus critic. And so in the past, I would have been, you know, very critical of anything that was coming up, and very critical of my body and the way I was handling things, and just critical basically. And then at some point with self-love, like when this self-love vibe came in, everything turned, I would consciously choose cute, like, oh, Gina, we're here again. Aren't you a silly Billy? Come on, let me help you. You know, this real like nurturing, cute.
I love that.
Just like, yeah, you've not got it all figured out. You're just a little human with no idea of this whole cosmic plan. Like, well done. Well done for being a human. And it just takes you out of that, oh, for God's sake, you could have done that better, you should have done this, which is not helpful, and puts you into that nurturing, cute, funny, humorous, and it just changes your vibration instantly.
I love that. That's so amazing. That little hack for that judging, critical part to just like have a little smile and say, "Oh, you silly Billy!" Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you silly
Yeah.
Billy." That's like, nurturing that little kid part. That's like, you've done nothing wrong. Okay, you're maybe a little bit of a silly Billy right now, but
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah. And I do that with all my friends as well. So when my friends come with massive dramas, like one of my friends, not drama, but one of my best friends at the moment, her mom is incredibly sick and she's had to move countries during the pandemic, and now she's had to leave her life and she's feeling a lot of guilt, and they don't get on well, and it's a lot of stuff is happening, and she's coming to me like, I should be a better adult, and I'm like, oh, you're so cute, come here, let's have a chat about it, let's have a laugh about it. And it's just like, oh, okay, this is fun, okay, I can get through this. It's a really good way with friends that are in a massive thing, just to change it.
Yeah, I love that so much. And so this is the part which I love. It's like, so you've obviously got these tools how to switch from that critical voice, that inner critic, and you're obviously teaching self-love as part of your dharma. So we're looking at yourself radiant in your absolute power center, expressing yourself out from such an aligned place of your soul and your mission. You've got your location independent business you can have all over the world. You've got your tribe, you've got your client tribe. So how did you get here?
Yeah.
I know it's not always been like this. So what's the depth of the journey? What has it taken to be where you are?
It's it's taken a lot. I used to be this quite confident little child, and into my horses and gymnastics and all the things, and then I went to this school that was very academic, which a lot of schools are, that were there for that, but this school, I don't know, I don't feel it was a good fit for me. But anyway, it did the job. It got me to where I need to be. So I'm grateful. But the school was very much focused on, are you going to Oxford? Or are you going to Cambridge? And if you weren't, you were just like, you're just kind of a number. Well, that's how I felt as a child. And then I just decided, well, I'm not very intelligent, so I'm a nobody. And that's what school instilled into me. And also, I wasn't at all interested in kicking a piece of plastic around a piece of grass. So, I wasn't interested in hockey or netball or whatever that one's called. I just was not. I just remember thinking as a child, why would I want to spend my precious days and hours throwing a ball into a hoop? This is like something animals are made to do. I am not doing this. That was I think my little spiritual soul being like, I am a freaking queen. I am not doing this. But at the time, you were wronged for that. And I felt very wronged at school, and I actually turned into almost like a mute at school, because I think, I'd put my hand up to answer a couple of questions and I'd got the wrong answer. And I remember a teacher kind of humiliating me and being like, oh, that's not the answer, and just being like, oh my God, I am never putting my hand up again. And all these stories, all these traumas I got social anxiety. So if someone spoke to me, I would go bright red, I would stutter and stammer, I wouldn't know what I was saying, and I wouldn't get anything out. So for quite a few years, that was my reality. And it was incredibly frustrating as a confident, full of personality human stuck in that. So then going into like late teenage years, I started getting scouted for modeling. And weight loss, I was always I'm quite tall and I'm quite curvy and I'm quite heavy. I'm a big kind of person. So to put it into perspective, like UK size 14, 16. And a lot of people sort of look at me on social media and think I'm smaller, or it's hard to tell if you kind of scale how big somebody is. So at school, I used to think, why am I just bigger than everyone? I need to go on a diet. And at that time, it was very much diet culture, and my idol was Posh Spice. And I can remember buying like Grazia magazine or whatever the magazine was, and it had a picture of Posh Spice's jeans, her own jeans line with her bum in. And it was like actual life-size drawing of Posh Spice's hips. And I was just like, oh my God. I remember having the magazine like on my hips, and I was double that and thinking, I need to change this immediately. Yeah. So diet culture, my mum also was never very happy with the body, even though she's got an amazing body. She always wanted to be thin. And she was always on Weight Watchers or Slimming World, and so was I. Yeah, it was a weird one. And then getting scouted for modelling, I was like, oh my God, no, that is so scary. Absolutely not. But it kept coming in. And eventually I went into the modelling agencies, and they said, nutshell, we love you, but you're too fat. You need to lose a stone in weight and come back in 2 weeks, and then we'll sign you up. And I was just like, oh, Jesus, I cannot. I mean, who can lose a stone in 2 weeks anyway? It's a lot.
Yeah.
So fast forward a bit, and there's a lot that happened in this time, but I did get asked to do some modelling from somebody else. And they said, and I was like, oh, no, I can't do modelling. I'm too big. And they were like, no, we want bigger girls because we do wedding stuff. So we do wedding dresses, and we want curvy girls because our samples are for real women, and we don't have the models to fit it. So you're perfect. So all of a sudden I was like the perfect size. And that, like the modelling agency, it's like this little local one, is actually called Angels Elite, which I honestly believe they were angels to me, because these two women that ran it, because they instilled into me for the first time that my body was perfect for them. And so I was like, oh, okay. And that gave me a boost. And then the original modelling agency actually came back to me because they'd heard that I'd been modelling and they'd seen some pictures and stuff. And they then asked me to be a plus size model, to which I was so offended, because I was like, I was like 19 and trying to be this slim thing, thinking people think I'm slim, but hiding myself. And then they came and asked me to be a plus size model. And not only that, but then they asked me to put on a stone in weight in 2 weeks. Yeah, so it was crazy times, but I didn't put on weight, but they did sign me up, and I started plus size modeling. But the whole time my self-esteem was like, you're not big enough, you're too big, you're not tall enough, you're too this. And then I'd go to some jobs and they'd put a fat suit on me or pad me.
Wow.
To make me bigger. I did a job for Kellogg's where I had to be weighed to get my BMI, because by law, because it's a weight loss product, my BMI had to be a certain amount for me to be the face of it. And I wasn't quite enough, so I had to go away and put on a bit of weight to be slightly higher BMI to fit the thing. And it was a big money campaign. And, so there's been a lot of weird stuff in my journey that has all added up to a lot of weird body self-love stuff. And then after that, I then did really, really well at plus size modeling, got signed in New York, got signed in Milan, was traveling all over the world and smashing it, being paid loads. And yeah, and that came with a lot of weird stuff as well, because there was all these blogs at the time, like, people would tag me in blogs, and there'd be all these people, like keyboard warrior people, like thousands of people commenting on the shape of my body. Oh, she's not a real woman. My wife's the real woman, and she's this size, and then other people being like, give her a break. Like, she's trying her best. Like, this is who she, and it was all this, it's very weird industry. So all that was happening, and I naturally kind of fell into this role of being a front woman for the body diversity campaigns. So sometimes, you know, I'd shoot for someone like Macy's and or ASOS. I became, you know, I was ASOS curve model, and it was like this body diversity. Like, oh look, we're a brand, and we're having this Gina, we're having this curvy woman, so we're diverse. And I kind of fronted that, not so much with my voice, but with my body. Which was interesting. And so I had all these women come into me, you know, being like, wow, I wish I had your confidence. And quite honestly, I felt confident, but I felt like a fraud, because I wasn't really. There was this part inside of me that was not confident and did not feel good. And I was totally disconnected from love. I was having almost like an eating disorder, because I was eating really healthy and trying to show up as this like really healthy person who has this body. And then I would, on the way home, I would eat 4 chocolate muffins, because I was like binge eating and I couldn't understand why. And it was very messy. And I also felt a lot of guilt that everyone was messaging me saying, you've got the best life ever. We'd love your life. Oh my God, I want to be a model. Like, all this. And I was thinking, well, I don't feel that good. Yeah, it's good, but I don't feel good. I felt guilty. I felt like it was my dirty little secret that I didn't feel good. And sometimes when I say this, my mum will listen to some of the interviews that I do, and she didn't realize that I was struggling. And in some ways I wasn't. I was having a great time, you know, I was doing all this great stuff and I loved it. I loved modeling, I loved traveling, I loved meeting people. I felt great. But then there was this other side to me, which I never shared with anyone, even myself, that couldn't feel love. I couldn't receive. I couldn't feel love. I felt completely disconnected from my body. Just disconnect, essentially. And also synonymously with that, a big clue was that I would date many, many men, but I would never let them close to me. So like I would never let them have more than a few dates. I would never open to them. I would never have sex with them. Literally, I wasn't available for any of that. Keep everyone at arm's length, which didn't feel good to me or to them. And then I would just kind of flick them off and on to the next one. And that was my pattern. And it was incredibly painful, because every time I finished with somebody, in one way I'd be like, yeah, they're not good enough for me, da da da. But then I would feel compassion for them, because they'd be hurting, because they would fall in love with me. They always would fall in love with me, which in some ways I found was this like, you know, ego empowered bullshit of like, yeah, I'm Gina Swire, I'm a model, and you'll all fall at my feet. But it felt crap. And every time I would, you know, I wanted love, and I thought a man was going to give me that, and every time it didn't work, I would kid myself that I felt loads of compassion for them, and that I feel so sorry for them, but not for myself. I'm fine. But actually I was just deflecting the fact that I felt like a failure. I felt like there was something wrong with me. I couldn't understand what was going on. Why was I attracting these men? And it was just a big mess. Yeah. So all that happened. And at that time, I wasn't particularly aware as such. Like, I didn't have friends around me who were into this awareness game. I didn't know there was coaches. I didn't know there was people like me who could help me then. I had no idea. I didn't know about this world. I didn't know about spirituality or what was possible. And so I was living in New York, and you know how it happens. You follow the breadcrumbs. I got really interested in yoga, started going to the yoga class, and I didn't know anyone in New York, and I had no friends at that time. So I just used to go to yoga like all day and just do loads of different classes. And I met this teacher there, and that I didn't know then, but that was going to be like a big part of my journey. And so I met this woman, and she had this curly blonde hair, and she wasn't particularly good looking or slim or all these things that I thought people had to be amazing. She wasn't that, but she just shone. She like this
like
halo
your
there.
halo. I love it.
She was just like, her eyes were bright. She was super present. She had all this different language. She was like speaking this spiritual language. And I was just like, wow, who is this woman? And how do I get a piece of that puzzle? And so I took a course with her. And in this course, it taught us about yoga. It taught us about, she had a gong, which I'd never experienced before, and all these cute little things. And she taught me about chakras, and we did eye gazing, and it blew my mind. Like, I was like, holy moly. Yeah. And so it's all these cute little things like following the breadcrumbs. And I love this, follow the cosmic breadcrumbs, whatever your desire is or whatever you're being drawn to. Like, it's a breadcrumb, it's leading you somewhere. It's like a rocket of desire, as Abraham Hicks calls it. So all these things were happening. And she also gave me permission, because I was very psychic and very cosmic, and I was communicating with my dad, who'd passed away, but I'd shut it all down because it's weird. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, oh, tell me more about this. Oh, yeah, this is this. And she taught me this word synchronicity, and she told me what manifesting is. And I was just like, oh my God, there's people that do this crazy shit that I do, that I've locked away all these years. Yeah, so huge permission slip. Yeah. And then a couple more things happened after that. I got drawn to doing a nutrition course because I've always been into cooking and food, and I love growing things, but I hadn't been able to do much of that because I'm always traveling. And my dream was actually to open a cookery school. And I'd forgotten that dream because I'd been a model for 10 years at this point. And I joined like a nutrition course. I thought it was a nutrition course. So it was an amazing course. And if anyone's ever watching this in the future and wants to know what this course is, email me and I'll send you the details. It was a game changer. But when I signed up to it, I didn't do my research. Typical Gina, like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. It was quite expensive. I was like, yeah, believe big balls. I'm getting this really expensive thing. Didn't research it. Turned up on the first day in New York. And it was actually, I thought it was going to teach me to be healthier because I'd kind of been partying and doing all the things. And actually it was like a health coaching course, and it was going to teach me how to have a business to help other people. And I was like, shit, oh my God, this is one of my bigger mess ups. Oh God, I've messed up. But as the universe would have it, it was taking me on my path. And for 3 months of the course, I just resisted it. I was thinking I'd done the wrong thing. I'm not going to do those modules. And then I was like, right, got it. Yeah. So that really, really like propelled me, taught me about self-development, got me helping other people. And that was one of the biggest gifts. So I made such a fast turnaround in my life by empowering myself. And for the first time was about to connect with self-love. Mm-hmm. And as I did that, at the minute I got those messages of self-love, everyone around me was like saying what I'd said to that yoga teacher, like, what is this? Like, how do I get this? And my business happened to me. Like I didn't ask for it. Just my business grew me, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. Love it. So the halo went on to you from your teacher, and you're like, all of a sudden you're embodying that light that people are like, yes, when you're aligned in your path. And I just love, this is again the thing about you, you're always so playful. You make something that can come from many different perspectives, you know, that journey of getting where we are, and it's those cosmic breadcrumbs. And I love that step by stepness, you know, crumb by crumb, not like thinking, oh, like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to be? What am I going to become? Da, 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 da. Just like, well, where's that synchronicity? Where's that next little crumb? Where's that next step? And just follow it until one day you've just done the work. You've showed up for yourself. You trusted the little trail of breadcrumbs. And then after all that work, all of a sudden, all the pieces make sense. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm here and I'm in it and I'm living it. Which is so amazing. I love that about your story.
Yeah. And those breadcrumbs, now when you look back at your journey, anyone listening, their journey, you can see, oh, that was a bread. Oh, right. Yeah, that had to happen. You can see all the dots and you can join them up. And what we forget is those dots already exist in our future, but we can't see them yet, like we couldn't 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so those cosmic breadcrumbs are all there. Breadcrumb. It's all going to be perfect. Like, why do we think that for some reason God has made a mistake with us, not with anyone else, just with us, and it's all going wrong and we've taken a wrong path? There is no wrong turns. We just can't see the breadcrumbs yet. So we just have to trust that they're there, and they are.
I love that, trust. And it's so funny because, you know, like, I resonate so much with what you're saying with my journey and my path. And I have known a lot about saying self-worth and that, you know, scarcity set, to now, you know, be teaching people how to really embody themselves and know their worth and just embrace that abundance of life in your path and live it. But it's going to sneak back. And one thing is that scarcity mindset, that even though the cosmic breadcrumbs that you speak of has been laid out all of your life, and the scarcity mind all of a sudden will be like, what if there's no more breadcrumbs? Like, and you start going into this panic and over analyzing things and trying to place your own breadcrumbs down sometimes, like, quick, I'm going to throw my breadcrumbs down. But, you know, it's so right when you just remember, as you said, this is like the cosmic breadcrumbs, like where you look at the Milky Way night and you see that beautiful path. It's like, relax, guys. The cosmic breadcrumbs are there. You can't see them. I love that so much, the way that you create that visualization for all of us. Like, you know, I'm sure you're going to maybe be somewhere in 10 years time that you just maybe didn't know of because you don't know the breadcrumbs. Same with myself and same for everyone else. And it's just relax and enjoy that beautiful breadcrumb that you have in front of you now. And to just trust in that abundance of these breadcrumbs and of your path and of your dharma, as they say in yoga. And such a beautiful way to look at it and to remember that there's not a limit to these breadcrumbs. And as you said, that part of us that's like, what's wrong with me? It's like, just trust.
Yeah. And so if you're anything like my business mastermind ladies, I can hear them thinking, if I was to talk about this, but how do I pay my rent? Like, how I have to trust the cosmic breadcrumbs. Yeah, nice, but I have rent to pay. I have commitments. I have bills. Like, how do I do that? And this is a huge thing. And all I can say to that is, like, when have we ever not been provided for? Like, when have we ever not met something? Yeah, you might be late, or you might have to get a credit card, or you might have to borrow something at some point, but we're constantly being provided for. Like, why would the future be any different? And so with my business ladies, because they're in a big period of up leveling, they're investing in themselves, they're going for it on a different level. They're like, you know, the thing, they've been kind of like at yoga teacher level, doing a bit of this and a bit of that, and now they're like creating systems and having a team, and, you know, it's a big jump. And they can be like, but when's it gonna come in? You know, I'm trusting, but when? And we've been talking about this week, and when we up level our vibration, which we have done to do these things, we are also up leveling the amount of support we're going to receive as well. And if anything is not in our path, we won't meet it, and that will fall away, and we'll have to choose something different. And that's fine as well. We'll deal with that if it comes. But it's having that trust, and also knowing that all the clients that, you know, anybody watching might have, or all the book deals, all the, you know, television interviews that make your career, all the autoresponder success, all the people joining your program, is all already there waiting for you. It's just waiting for you to be at the perfect vibration. And sometimes we have to do healing to get to that point, because that's what we're going to share. And just knowing, just trusting the healing, trusting that it's not always going to look how we think it's going to look, but it's always going to be, we're always going to be provided for.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's already provided in our future. Yeah. It's just, you know, waiting for the perfect moment when we're ready for step by step, the right people to come in, and it's ready. And I love that you brought in the voice of the mastermind. And we're always usually attracting people from our own path as well. And, you know, I want to bring in, like, I can see like my business mastermind group and working a lot on this way of self-worth and abundance. So I want to just bring in this voice here and be like, Gina, so I'm going to be honest, I do have a bit of self-worth issues. I know deep down that I've got something so amazing to offer and provide. I know I can really make a difference to this world. How do you charge people? And then you just feel that cringe of like, how do you charge when you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in yourself? What's your like self-love manifesting guru Gina tip for that part?
Yeah. Great question. So firstly, and this is something I can give to you, I have this thing called the mission statement, and it's got a series of like journaling prompts. You might have something similar, but it really connects you to your why. And it also has some quite harsh things in it. Like, well, some of them might be, you know, the service I provide is, and then you journal it. The type of woman I work with is, I absolutely reject women who are, and then that one, and all this stuff. So it's not just like love and light. It's like, fuck that, it's boundaries. And at the end, it's like, one of the questions is, and for this, I charge. And it really connects you to your why. That document on its own provides everything you would ever need to be in the right headspace to put your offerings out. So that's the first thing I would say. Connect to your why. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book, but if you don't know why you're doing it, or you've forgotten because you've got too heady, it's impossible to sell things. It's impossible to attract people. To get connected to your why. Secondly is remember who you are and how you've got here. So like I've just kind of relayed my, you know, all the things I've done. I've invested in myself so much. I've been so brave. I have gone through the mill so many times and come out of those mills with wisdom. And that is where my worthiness to charge comes from, partly. So there's that as well, remembering who you are and where you've come from, and writing it all down, like having that somewhere useful. The other thing is to keep and like create a few different things. So in my phone, I have, in my camera roll, I have a separate little folder, and every time someone messages me from social media saying like, I love your posts, like I just want to tell you how much your posts have helped me in my life, thank you so much, I will screenshot that and put it in my folder. If a client tells me a win that they've had, like, oh my God, you know, you taught me about this, I've just made £6,000, I'll screenshot that, put it in my folder. And it's on those days where I'm like, how can I charge? I just go to that folder and I just read it all through, and I reconnect with what I do and the influence of my wisdom. So that's another thing. And then also another thing that I find really interesting is, you know, when I started off as a coach, I was kind of like, yeah, I was coaching people, and I was coaching people on health at first. And I was listening to the things, and they were getting a vibe upgrade just by getting to tell me stuff that they'd never told people. And then I would see things in them, and I would give them some homework, and I would hold them accountable. And that was great. You know, that's where I was at, and I would charge accordingly for that. And I used to charge very low, you know, a few £100s. And then I would put it up a little bit and put it up a little bit, and incremental price rises that feel good is how I do everything. And then at a certain point, I had like a big shift, and I realized, because I used to think, how am I going to be bigger, like a bigger, well-known coach? Because it's so much work. Like, I'm doing so much. Like, I don't even know if I want to expand my business, because I'm struggling with all the work as I am. And that's when I had the shift. I think it might have been in a medicine journey. It was like, no, you've slightly got it wrong. And this is when I changed from a coach to a mentor, because a mentor to me, and some people have different definitions, but a mentor to me, when I really journaled on it for myself, a mentor is someone who does all of that, but also they hold of being that person. They teach by being it, and they ask you to join them in that vibration. Mm-hmm. And so then the doingness, and the giving the homework, and the keeping accountable, and what you give them, and the PDFs and all the stuff becomes like almost irrelevant. Yeah, you can give them some of that stuff, but just in being like, this is who you can be. Like, let me show you how good life can be. And then, oh my God, then my clients just started to excel. I jumped up a level. They would excel. And that's how I remember that I can charge. And
love it.
And so passionate about this. Like, I pay my mentor $30,000. Like, it is a lot to work with her. I didn't know it was that when I first asked her. Had this lightning bolt thing. I was thinking to myself, what is my next big, possibly scary step? This was actually a question out of the book You're a Badass at Making Money, by Jen Sincero. And one of the questions in it is, what is the big step that you may be avoiding that you know will either make or break you? And when I was riding my scooter through Bali, it was like a lightning bolt hit me, and it was like, work with this one particular coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, right. I literally stopped my scooter right there, sent her a message. I was like, I think you're my coach. And I was like, shit, I think it's going to be $10,000. I don't know if I've got $10,000. Like, oh my God. Had the call. I was a full fuck yes. The whole call, I was just like, yes. Gets to the end, and she's like, $30,000. And I was like, oh, don't have $30,000. Don't even make that in a year. Like, what? How? Oh my God. And holy shit, like, how do you charge $30,000? Good for you. Like, wow. And I was still a full fuck yes, even though I had no idea how I was going to do that. And I was then saying yes to this. Obviously, I could pay it monthly, so it reduced it a bit. But I knew I had to level the fuck right up immediately, or I was going to bankrupt myself. And I was willing to go there. I was like, I don't know why. This doesn't make any sense, but I am going there. That is the coach that I am stepping into. And if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm going there. And that was my mentality. So that night, so many, like the guy I was dating, suddenly, no, I cannot date him. This woman where I'm going does not date him.
Wow.
I'm going through my wardrobe. I'm chucking out things. I'm just like, no. And literally within 2 months, I made the entire investment back plus some.
Love it.
And I'd never made that from coaching. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you are setting your price, when people watching are setting their prices, know that paying a bigger amount gives them more permission. Like, I'm glad I had to pay 3 times more than I thought I was going to. I'm glad, because that is what turbo rocketed me. So now when it comes to my clients, I do not feel bad about charging 5 figures. I'm like, you want this. Your soul wants this. Your human will be shitting herself, but your soul wants women to rise in this way.
Wow.
Boom.
Let's just have a round of applause for all of that. Woo! Love it. And so, I mean, I feel you so aligned with me. It's one thing, the same thing that I always tell people, you gotta know, and I call it the depth of your journey. First of all, like, take a minute, let's go really deep before you even think about your business. It's like, God, just how much have you been through in your life?
Yeah.
And it's like, you realize, and you just realize how much you've received from all those tough places, that it's like, you got to turn around and look that way, so you can say to yourself, look, I did not go through all of this to be broke and feeling undervalued and burn out, to give everything I've got for nothing. It's like, I love that you're the same, and just like, know yourself and know your journey, and just like, oh, come on. It's like, there's depth here. And I love as well about the investing as well. It makes such a difference. And I'm the same as you. Like, whenever I need to work with my coach, it's usually when I'm stuck, I'm in my patterns, and it's like, that feeling comes because they're good, they tell you their price, and part you go, oh, but the other part's like, yeah. And when you invest in what you believe in, like you said, it's like, I love the way you said it. Like, what did you say? Like, it skyrocketed you. And I love that, because I just know so many, everyone's going to be like, draws are dropping when you said, and it was 30,000. It'll be like, everyone's going to be like, oh. And then the mind comes in, like, as you said, it's going to say, do you know, how are you going to do that? It's going to look in your bank, and it's going to be like, there's no chance. But I loved your share of, like, when you decided you were worthy of a 30,000 investment, then you're said to your whole life, including your wardrobe, including your boyfriend, including your clients, I am worth 30,000.
Yeah. And it's that worth that attracts women who want to learn that worth and are willing to give you the worth. So it's just an upward spiral for everyone. You're not taking from them. We're just taking from the pot of abundance that is for everyone, and anyone can tap into.
Love that. Love that image so much. That, that is in itself just so beautiful, what you've just shared with us. Like, for me, I love visuals. Just this big, huge cosmic pot of all the rainbows and all the gold coins at the bottom of the rainbows for everyone. And when you're taking, you're not taking, because I think people, we feel bad, let's be honest. Some people are like, oh my God, I'm taking someone's money. There's a situation going on in the world, and should I just do it for free, or da-da-da? But that image that you shared, it's like, no, this is the cosmic pot of money, and it's for everyone, and you're taking from that. And when somebody hands over those cosmic coins to you, it's like that journey you shared, they're saying, I'm worth this, and their whole life's going to go like that, and that cosmic pot's going to just give to them in some way. I love that image so much, that we're not taking from the person, we're taking from this cosmic pot, and it's for everyone. And will you step up and say to yourself, I am worthy of receiving and giving from this cosmic pot?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes, to the cosmic pot for everyone. And yeah, I love that. That's so incredible.
Thank you.
Definitely feel inspired by using that visualization for myself whenever I make my investments, because let's be honest, when we're making the big ones, the important ones, it does feel a little bit edgy, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah. And side note, that will be the third time that I've made that investment with that mentor. It's
wow.
And that's what happens with my people as well. Like, they might be like, holy fuck, how much are you charging? And then you don't have to have that money right then.
Yeah.
But I'm the kind of human, and I attract women who are the kind of human that if they really want something and their body's saying yes, they will find that money. So that's when the cosmic pot comes in, because the cosmic pot just somehow magics money to you if you're in that vibration. Yeah, so some of the women that I coach, they will stretch like crazy to do 6-month coaching with me. And then at the end, they're like, yeah, I want to renew. And then I want to renew because they want to work on something else or go deeper. And then they're like, oh my God, 6 months ago, that was so hard for me. And now I'm just like, yeah, I want to renew, So it's hard to instill that when you're having those first sales calls with someone, or your first discovery call with new coaches. And my new coaches struggle with this as well. And I'm like, once you've delivered 6 months, they will not think twice about obviously some aren't aligned to continue because they've got what they need, but most are like, where do I sign? You don't even have to do anything.
I seen there was like a funny meme. Someone had sent it to me, and it was, I don't know, it might have been like an Apple advert or something like that. And it was saying like that feeling that you want to have. And I think under it said, just shut up and take my money. Like, and that's something what it is like with people who you just know, you feel it, or like people that go through our programs where people get the result at the end, it all shifts, and people are literally, instead of having that, oh my God, let me think about it, I don't know, how do I make this happen? Once people go through these programs of transformation, it is just like, shut up, take my money. Like, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for what this is going to mean for the whole shifts and vibrations in my life and business.
Yeah. And 2 other things are coming to me that might be useful for people watching this on this specific subject. So in the mission statement, I always write things like, I want to work with people who are so excited to work with me. They've been following me for ages. I'm the only mentor for them. And they just know in their heart that they're doing it. So that already is attracting these people. And to amplify that, whenever I put out a new course, a new retreat, at the moment my one-to-one coaching practice is open, which hasn't been for ages. When my book comes out, I'll be doing a ceremony, and I did one the other night with a bit of your help. I did a ceremony, and in that ceremony I was calling in the souls of the women, or the humans. So I actually put humans, which normally I put women, but for some reason I put humans. Calling in the souls of the humans who know, and they've been, because for any coach, there's a bunch of people out there who they already know they want to work with you, but they haven't come forward yet. So the souls of the humans that are ready to go on this journey, that are the exact client for me to grow how I hold the space, for them to grow into the space, and they know in their heart they want to do it. And so in that ceremony, in that ritual, like even before the end of it, I'd had a message from someone saying, I've been thinking about having one-to-one coaching with you. And honestly, like, I've not been getting one-to-one applications because I haven't had my application form live, because I've not been focusing on that. I've been focusing on behind the scenes stuff. I've literally not had someone ask me for one-to-one coaching in 3 months, because it's just not been open. And then in that ceremony, there's that person. The next day, another man is coming
Oh
forward
yeah,
and
because you
saying,
put humans, not just
yeah. And
women.
he's like, do you work with men? And I was like, honestly, I've worked with a few men over the years and I love it, but obviously my message is aimed at women. But he was telling, and it's so aligned. And I'm just like, yeah, like I really feel excited at coaching this person. And why would you want to coach someone that is like, I'm not sure. It's like, bore off. I
Yeah,
want people that are like, where do I press go? Yes, it's scary. I will find the money. Yeah.
it's so true. So true. And it's the same within me. I remember at the start of my journey, you know, it's like you just think, because you haven't really thought, I want to help. I just want people. I just want, you know, anybody.
Numbers.
And you're not really specific. And what happens is, like, what you put out, as you say, you attract back, and you just get people who are, you know, you haven't been specific. So you get people that are, they're not looking to you and really aligning with you. They'll have anyone like, it doesn't matter, like, I'll waste your time and email you and message you, but like, yeah, like whatever, it could be anyone. Or, you know, you get people who aren't ready within themselves, either energetically or financially, like, okay, I'm gonna trust and put in that. And I love how you bring that in of specifics, and so helpful and supportive. And I usually teach clients, it's like, just like envision your soul tribe. Like, these are your tribe. You've got to connect to them. And as you say, like, it's putting that specifically in, like, I want to work with people who want to work with me as their coach or whatever it is that someone is. And the power, like, as you shared, you set your intentions, you align to that, you were specific with that, and you get for what you ask for. Sometimes completely instantaneously. Is that the word? Like that. And so I love that reminder for people. Get clear, get specific, call it in, boom.
Yeah. And if it doesn't come the first time you call it in, not like energetically, but when I find this with my coaches, like the coaches that I coach, they sometimes put something out, they don't get people knocking the door down, and then they're like, nobody wants it, I'm just gonna hang out over here in the safe chairs. No, show up for that, show up for your why, show up for that every single day, for a time, and show people, you know, we need to see things 17 times before we even see it sometimes. So
yeah, I love that. Keep going. Well, wow, I feel like I've just drunk from the big abundant cosmic pot, and all my little breadcrumb stars are like ding 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 ding, like, amazing. And so thank you for your time and for activating our abundant, manifesting, self-love cosmic coin pots and our cosmic breadcrumbs. And I know you've got so many exciting things. So let's just say people are like, yeah, how can we find you?
Yeah, it's my name on everything, Gina Swire. So Gina Swire on Instagram, ginaswire.com, Gina@ginaswire.com if you want to email me. But reach out and say hi if you watch this. And I love just hearing what was your takeaway, and if anything lit a fire or if anything changed something for you, just reach out. I always have different offerings, but at the moment my one-to-one coaching practice is open. That's the highest level of service that I can really give to anyone ever. So that's open, which hasn't really been all year. And then between Christmas and New Year, I'm holding a event that I usually hold in person, the Self-Love Soiree. But I'm doing it virtually. I've just done one a few weeks ago or months ago, and it was way better than I could have ever imagined a virtual retreat was going to be. So I'm doing it again in between Christmas and New Year. Different intention. It's going to be wrapping up the whole year and manifesting for the next year. It's super potent. Yeah, so come along to that if you want.
I love it. Yay! Well, thank you, Gina, from everyone for what you bring. Thank you for trusting in your breadcrumb path so you can be here and just sharing your dharma, your soul vision, and inspiring everyone to do the same.
Thank you, Louise. It was really, really fun. And I love your reflections and your space holding, and that you are called to do this for people. Just shows how giving and generous you are.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll catch you on your self-love soiree and on your self-love movement. So thank you so much.
Thank you.